Next category of questions that'll more or less wrap up the initial presentation here, and then we'll get into the audience questions. Where are we going with this program? So the first question, and Alice, this is going to be back to you. What is the status of the plan we call the Sirius plan? Of course, we've had a moderate state implementation plan, and now we're into the development of the Sirius implementation plan for failure to meet certain deadlines. So maybe you can explain where we're at with that.
So where we're at, so many of you know we were out for public comment late spring and early summer. The comment period on the new air quality plan, the Sirius plan, closed in late July. And since that time, DEC has taken in all those comments. We've been sorting through them, going through them, reading them, looking at them, and working on laying out options for how to incorporate ideas that were raised through comments into the plan. So that's where we're at. We're in that responding to comment, considering comments and responding to comments process, where our goal is to get through that process, make some decisions. There's some legal review that needs to be done at the state, and then we're hoping to be in a position to have the plan final and submitted to EPA in the December timeframe.
Okay, thank you. The next question then is going to involve perhaps some input from each member of the panel. So when and how will we reach attainment? And not sure what order. Krishna, you want to start?
Okay. So that's so you've seen the progress you've made, the community has made in making progress towards reaching attainment levels of air quality. So when will you reach attainment? That's a good question. When you have to reach attainment is as soon as possible. The Clean Air Act says after you're designated, you have about 5 years to get to attainment. That's the outer limit. It says 5 years or before. And so the extent of it, so you've kind of tripped that and you've gone past that. And it's because it's a health issue. There are people in the community who are actually suffering from health. And as you know, we talked about sensitive populations, healthy people and children are suffering from air quality issues. It's a public health issue. There are some places in the country where we have to call healthcare emergency crises and things like that. So it's when you don't reach a certain level, then you get elevated to the next level of severity, which is where you are in serious, in the serious status. And so as quickly as possible is you know, when you need to get there. How and when you get there is dependent on how well the community engages in the different measures that you can come up with. EPA likes to stay very far behind, and the Clean Air Act says that as soon as the air quality issue is identified, the local community, the local government, the state government take primacy in addressing local solutions and what works for you and your community. So continuing some of the wood stove programs, and when you are at the level where you are, where you're serious non-attainment area, all sources have to look at what they can do. That's what the Act says. All sources that contribute in this airshed, in this non-attainment area, have to look at what they can do to make as much progress as possible. And for industrial, like factories and industrial sources, they have to look at a level of control called the best available controls. Other sources that contribute have to continue to do more of what you're doing. If there's innovative programs, then you incorporate those into your mix. And everybody has to sort of, because your community is in a public health threat, and you have to get over it. So everybody has to participate. I'm kind of missing a few things that people can do, but I'm going to let Alice and Nick contribute more.
You know, as far as the how we get there, How we get there is looking at ways that we can, reduce those emissions as a community. A really big and positive step was the stakeholders group that was convened last year. I think that stakeholders group looked at a lot of the really difficult issues and came to some compromises that would be solutions that would fit this community. And that's the most important part, because none of the solutions are necessarily easy at this point. And so finding things that fit the community is how we're going to get there to reduce the emissions. And when we're going to get there is, as Alice stated, we think we can definitely get there. It's just a matter of time. And it's community involvement and community engagement, I think, that is going to get us there as expeditiously as possible.